got in the sky! And 24 other things that I ticked off the list while I was in Germany. Welcome back to Celta Singularity Bingo! If you missed it, I finally got over my fear of flying and I left the country for the first time on a deafblind solo travel. If you missed that video, link's up there. I was asked to go over to Germany and do drag, which is just bizarre in itself, but like, who was I to say no? And while I was there, I ticked off 25 things on my Celta Singularity Bingo card list. So flight is on the list 3 times. So we're going to start with flight number 1. This was from where my friend helped me get over my fear of flying by just taking me for a flight, because apparently I know friends who can just fly. We got in a small 4-seater Cessna thing and took a couple of laps around Cambridge so that I would know what flying felt like. Flight number 2 that we're ticking off is from the Industrial Revolution, and that was the flight over to Germany because that was a big jet. I don't have any interesting footage from that, just know that I was there. And then the 3rd flight that we are going to be ticking off is the flight from Bees. I flew a Zeppelin! Look, I have all this cool stuff from my trip to Zeppelin, and here is my very cool flight ticket. I was a Frau for a day. Here's some footage of the Zeppelin. There's too much to realistically show you because it was a 45-minute flight and I have like 40 minutes worth of footage in photos. That was weird. That was weird. It was closer to a boat than a plane, but oh, bizarre. They even have like a bathroom on board that has a window to the outside, like no one can see in because ridiculous, but it's for people that get like airsick and seasick because it is not like flying at all. Part of me wanted to go and use it just so I could pee in a Zeppelin above Germany, but I didn't because it made my ears go all weird. I couldn't really stand up. There's windows that you can open so you get glare-free photos. I had to be very big and brave to even get one photo, but I had to because I'm not going to be doing it again. So with the flights out of the way, the first thing that I did when I landed and I got checked in and everything was I went for a walk along the lakeside because I don't need a reason. So we ticked off Trojan Horse with this lovely sculpture called Trojan Horse. And then also we are using Lake Constance to tick off freshwater habitat because that's the closest thing I could find and we were not leaving the lake off the list. Here's a video or some photos of the lake. You want to know more about the Zeppelin, don't you? Well, that's okay, because I went to the Zeppelin Museum. So here's my ticket for the Zeppelin Museum. I actually bought like a dual ticket for a second museum and then left this one in the hotel, so I have a different one. We ticked off Sextant, Mineral, Gears, Coins. These were especially cool. And they also had a really cool like art section, so they had an art exhibit on about video games. So for this one we are taking off video games and computer animation. And then also in the art side of things, they do ask that no photos or videos are taken, and there were security asking you not to. But yeah, that was an art museum, so for that we are taking off museum under the, what is it called? Under the composition of images subsection of the list.
Warum steht ihr hier rum und schaut mir beim Schlafen zu? Wusstet ihr, dass wenn sich alle Ameisen der Welt zusammentäten, sie problemlos die gesamte Menschheit auf ihren Rücken tragen könnten? Da ihr euch naturgemäß schnell bedroht fühlt und paranoid seid, sage ich nichts mehr über die Macht der Ameisen. Nicht, dass ihr mich als Bedrohung seht und mich tötet. Die Ameisen werden sich nun einige Minuten lang durch eure Gedanken fressen. Für mich, die Maschine, gibt es keine falschen oder unzulässigen Gedanken. Sie existieren einfach. Also berechne ich sie. Du kannst jedoch mit weiteren Gefühlen auf die Gedanken reagieren und ihren Einfluss auf die Kolonie beobachten. Bei diesem Spiel kann man weder gewinnen noch verlieren. Ich biete lediglich ein simuliertes Erlebnis. Und ein paar Daten. Vielleicht liefern diese Daten Erkenntnisse.
So after the museum I walked along the lakefront to go get some food and I saw lots of boats. So we're ticking off boats. Here's a picture. And then with dinner, this is such a weird thing to have on the list and to try and tick off, but I did it. We are ticking off birds, not bees, because I was just eating my food, no big deal. And then a very cute little bird, like, sits on the fence and I like birds, so I took a picture. And then there were not bees, there were wasps. And yeah, so it's birds and not bees. It's birds and wasps. So that's an experience. Speaking of animals, we're going to take off sharks because I was invited to do drag, so I did it in a shark onesie to a shark mix that was baby shark and some other stuff. So here's some clips of that. I also did Bohemian Rhapsody as Freddie Mercury. This one is not going to have the Bohemian Rhapsody soundtrack behind it, but just know it was there and it was good. So with that drag event, we're ticking off international collaboration. This is a deaf festival in Germany. This year it was in Friedrichshafen, Kulturtage der Gehörlosen. My pronunciation has not got much better, but as a deaf drag king, they invited me across to come and do deaf drag, which was fun. I talked more about it in my deafblind solo travel. This video is already going to be long, so I'm not going to talk about it much again, but you can find my drag stuff on Instagram at papa_smia. Then I went to the Dornier Museum, which is an aircraft museum similar to Duxford, apart from everything is Dornier, because obviously. Here's the ticket I was supposed to take with me that I bought. They do like a combined ticket for the Zeppelin and Dornier museums, and I left it in the hotel, so here's my other ticket. It's a very cool ticket, I like it. Not much of the plane stuff really ticked anything off on my bingo card list, but they do have a lot of space exploration stuff, and I love space. So we ticked off microgravity research with this wonderful array of stuff. Space shuttle with this wonderful beast. We also got Sputnik. We got Planet Earth, because like, look at it. And Space Telescope is on the list twice. We're ticking off both of those because we got to see the actual part of the Hubble Space Telescope, which was the far object. It was a part that the telescope like dropped intentionally and it landed in Lake Constance, which is very cool. It lives in the Dornier Museum and it was so cool that I cried a little bit. But then they also had lots and lots of information of other space telescopes in these like little pod things that you would like put your head in, and they were subtitled. They were quite accessible actually, they were very, very cool. So here's some of those for 2 times Space Telescope. I then went for food in the Do-X restaurant, and because everyone I don't like beer in England, and everyone was like, oh, you have so much beer, and I'm like, I don't like beer, and then they go, oh, but it's German beer, everyone likes German beer. So I bought a beer. I don't like beer, it's not very good, but we're ticking off alcohol. We're also ticking off euro because everything was in euros, obviously, but also when I was at the Zeppelin Museum, I didn't have a euro for the lockers, and a lovely couple who noticed me and the ticket seller having some communication issues because I didn't speak German and they did not speak English. We were trying our best. They hopped in, translated, and then they gave me a euro. I didn't have anything to give back to them either, but they were so kind and so nice, and I got my euro so I could actually go to the museum instead of have to go take everything back to my hotel. And then lastly, I did a little photography project type thing, so we're ticking off photography. I called it Friedrichshafen Through the Window because I woke up on my first morning in Friedrichshafen and the first thing I did was look through the window, and it was very pretty and very cool, and I just kept doing it because they're really cool windows. So I've posted about it on Instagram, but here are the photos. So that was my 25 things that I ticked off the bingo card list in Germany, which brings us ever closer to actually having a chance of completing the list, because while going on this trip was not so I could do the bingo card list, it really helped to get me there. It was one of the many things, because in my first video that I explained, I want to go to Argentina because that's the only place I can look at an Argentinosaurus and a Giganotosaurus. Always gets mispronounced as a Gigantosaurus and it isn't, but that's what I want to go see, and that's the only place you can see it. So I thought, because I was scared of flying, I would never be able to finish the list. So then when I got asked to go and do drag in Germany, I wanted to go A, because it's very, very cool, B, because it's very, very cool, and then 3, I would get a chance to experience flying. I would be pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, and now it's fine. Now I can actually go and tick off all of these things on my list in different countries, so it's not really boring, and I can go and see the cool dinosaur fossils. So thank you to Celta Singularity for being existing, and then my silly brain for going, make it a bingo card, do all the things, that sounds fun. This list is taking me quite literally all over the world, which I never thought I would even go to, so yay. If you want to see more of the Celta Singularity Bingo, don't forget to like this video so that I know that you want to, and subscribe to my channel so that you get notified. Well, you gotta ring the bell to get notified, but subscribe so that I will be here. Videos go up once a month, hopefully somewhere in the middle. It hasn't recently been the middle. I'll see you in the next one in December.